Greeting fellow modelers. Remember that movie Flyboys? That was a very interesting movie where I was first introduced to the Nieuport 17. Here at Fiddlers Green in the Quick Build series, let's do this one for real. Let's begin. Check out Fiddlers Green series. You can go to fiddlersgreen.net. You find so many options, and the first 3 free. Well, here is the Nieuport 17, a World War I French scout model. Here is the fuselage, the prop, the stabilizer, the fin, the lower wing, the main upper wing, landing gear, the wing struts, and the rockets they use for Zeppelin raid. And here is pretty much the plan view, and this is a basic design. Nice. Let's get our tools. So the tool needed first, I use this to scoop glue out, to spread things. You need your scissors, very important, and tweezers. I cannot stress how much you need tweezers. And like a friend of mine say, make sure you pay attention to the cutting board. The cutter, the X-Acto knife, my steel rule, and Aleene's tacky glue. Trust me, get this. Any crazy glue, any quick drying glue, and toothpick. You can't get enough of using toothpick. Get yourself some, you will need them for what we're about to do. In cutting out parts, you have to remember, everybody, like I keep saying for all the videos, have their own style. Mine is to cut out the parts that we're going to focus on and build them. And besides, it helps with just dealing with things I need to deal with in the moment and put everything else aside. That's just my own thing. So here we are cutting out the parts, cutting out the wheel, and now the struts. This should be a good build. The upper wing assembly, I like the fact that it's one straight simple piece. Yes, it's a matter of cut, fold, glue. So here we're using our X-Acto knife, we're cutting along the center, and then we use our tweezer, the pointed one, to form the bend line. And once we get that, we're going to put a little curve in the wing, yeah, in the upper part of the airfoil using our brush handle. And now we're going to strengthen it by using toothpick and just glue across the center on the lower wing panel, so we add some strength to it. And then we just simply glue the edge. And pretty much that's our wing. We repeat the process on the other side of the panel and we're good to go. I really like the Nieuport series. I wonder if they have the 28. That would be nice to build too. Well, I'll see what Fiddlers Green have there. And now we just trim the edges up, and then we just color them to let it look a little more realistic, and we're good. Right? Remember, the model is not perfect, but it really is a great representation and a great way to start your modeling career. Now we cut the center section out. We put a little curve in it, and this will glue onto the center frame. And there you go. Nice. And this, my friends, is the upper wing. The lower wing assembly, pretty much, it's the same as the upper wing. It shouldn't be that difficult, right? We just cut off the excess paper. What I also like about it is, as all things French, I guess, you see the style and the flair in the model. And I heard that this particular model was so popular that the Germans tried to imitate it. Well, I guess it goes both ways, because remember that the Allies wanted to imitate also the D7 that Germany had. So for the toothpick here, we're going to just put a slight bend in it. This will give a slight dihedral because the lower wing actually bends up slightly to be joined to the upper wing with the struts, and the upper wing is straight. So keep that in mind. But like I said, to do the lower wing, it's just basically the same way we treated the upper wing. Nice. Highly recommend, if you're going to start this hobby, start with using Fiddlers Green kit, because you learn the basics here, and all the basics you see in these beginner guide, you can use them to build the most complicated of model. It's just a step up. And here we go. Done. The tail and fin assembly, listen, it is simple a matter of, we cut them out, we fold, and we put slices of toothpick. Remember, we take the toothpick and we're going to shave it down, add some glue to strengthen it. And get into the habit of doing this for pretty much most of your Fiddlers Green kit, because what it will do is prevent your tail surfaces from bending, warping, not looking too good, and just adds that little bit of realism that you would like to see, which makes for a pretty decent looking model. Nice. Now that we did that, we just repeat the same process with the tail, fin, fold along that side, and that distinctive shape of the Nieuport tails, love it. I love it. It's almost like I look at these models, these French fighters, Scout, pursuit aircraft, and they're like wine. You know, the French always talk about their wine. The models just remind me of that philosophy. And here we have the fin. Just trim up a little and we're good to go. I wonder if we can do the fuselage now. Let's deal with it. So the fuselage, take our time, get rid of the excess paper. So we're going to cut slowly, put that instrument panel aside, and we're cutting it out. The thing is, why I love Fiddlers Green, and I highly recommend this to beginners, is one, the deal you're going to get. The fact that you, without even paying for anything, can sign up and get 3 free models. That's one. Two, at $7.50 a month, you get a model a day. So that's roughly anywhere between 28 to 30 models for the month for $7.50 that you can try your hand at. And it's not even just aircraft, it's also tanks, cars, ship building, you know, so you should check them out, you know. And here you see how I put the fuselage together. This is pretty. And now we're going to put that headrest on. Use a toothpick now to bend it. So my rule of thumb is, depending on the size of the surface, you can use, like, I use my knife handle blade to the brush handle blade to a toothpick. The smaller the diameter, the smaller the instrument you use to roll it. Here we're coloring the edge of the cockpit canopy with our basic watercolor paint. We'll paint the inside, and that's nice. You know, add a little bit of realism to the cockpit, and it's a good habit to get into, because as time go by, it will be good for us. So let's integrate everything now. So let's start with the stabilizer. Put a generous amount of that tacky glue, and then we make sure that it's level. So we check the underside, make sure everything is level, and then put aside. And let's put this tail skid on now. So once we glue that up, we're going to then use a piece of toothpick strip and we just put on the very edge there. And now this we can then glue onto the underside, which is below the stabilizer. Nice. Now that we have gotten that, we're going to put a small hole in the base of the stabilizer to then add our tail fin. And there you have it. Starting to look good. Instrument panel, it's a little things you're going to learn eventually when you do these things that makes a big difference. And this goes for the instrument panel. Now you notice I didn't cut off all the pieces. I left a bit on the top and fold them over. Why? Because once I do this, I can put glue on those edges that I fold over. You see I'm applying glue right there, and I just slide the instrument panel on it. Tweezer hold it in place, I flip it right side up, and look what happens. In one shot, there you go, looking pretty good. The lower wing integration, not a problem. Just apply some glue where the tab is, apply glue on the edge, and then we carefully align and just make sure that everything pretty much, more or less, is level. Take the time, it's not a race. And then here's where my cutting mat come into play. Why the grid is important. You see I'm using it to align the fuselage to make sure that the wing is perpendicular to the fuselage. This is the beauty of it. Once that's dried, I just go in with a basic watercolor paint and paint the inside, the floor. And there you have it. The engine assembly, I would love to say that it's straightforward, but just follow through quickly. This here, I painted it with silver watercolor paint. Nothing expensive. A roll, a glue, and now we're cutting out the part that curves. You see I'm using the toothpick to try form a basic curve. That's what I'm doing. We apply glue and then we're going to go a step at a time and use a tweezer to hold the things in place. Now, once we get the thing basically locked up, I am going to start using a ballpoint tool. Now it's a cake decorating tool, but you see the ballpoint edges? I can roll perfect looking cowling. And if you don't have it, you see I'm using the edge of my paintbrush to do it. Same effect. We do a test there, check how it looks. Looks pretty good. All right, let's do the engine. So the firewall, basically, we're going to just put it flush against the fuselage front, glue into place. And once that is in place, we're going to just build our engine, which is basically 2 discs and then a strip that we join together. Put some glue on the edge here and then put this on. Trust me, this is the easiest it gets for you. Make a hole in the other disc where we'll put a toothpick in, and then we just glue that on and we have our engine. Let me tell you, appreciate this, because when it comes to other kit, you'll be building cylinders, you'll be building wiring. So this is as simple as it gets. Nice practice to have. Put some glue here, and this is where we're going to attach our cowling. Nice. Look at that. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad at all. Landing gear assembly, uh, I doubled it. Okay, so on this paper, I then use additional cardstock to strengthen it, and then we're going to pretty much put, that's how it's supposed to look. So let's form some slots, get a measurement there, figure out where to bore on the wing, make a slight slice, and attach. Once that's good, we just repeat the process to the other side, and pretty much that is it. Not complicated. We just make it simple, and we're good to go. The machine gun comes in two parts. We have the basic handle that we're cutting out, okay? And then we have the barrel. For the barrel, we're using the toothpick to roll. And then once we glue the barrel, we cut the excess edge off. And I use a black pencil marker to make the barrel there proper. We then fold the handle of the machine gun, put some glue there, make sure fold it underside, and then please remember, it is not a perfect kit, but it gives a pretty solid representation of what the Nieuport look like. So highly recommend this kit. It was really a fun build. Try it. Here we go. Put that barrel in place. Nice. So the struts and the upper wing integration, the main thing is we cut the struts, we're going to fold them, and then we're going to use strips of toothpick to strengthen them. Pretty much that is it. Nothing complicated. Now, there are two ways you can do this. For me, I attach all of this to the upper wing and then mount it to everything else. It can be easier to put the struts first on the lower wing and on the fuselage where they are, and then you mount the upper wing. So you have two choices. All right. Here you see put the toothpick strips in the struts, and then there are guide holes that were there that I put, and I glue this into place. Now pay attention to how you put the struts, okay? The leading edge has the strut at an angle. The trailing edge has a strut that's upright, so pay attention to that. Here you see I'm using the center struts. This is what will go on the fuselage. Make sure everybody's in place, and then we do a test. Slice the areas where the struts will come. And on the wing, I found that it's almost the third rib in. We try mount that into place now. And pretty much that is what it looks like. All right. I cut it out, but after me trying and fighting, this is what it looks like. And it's not bad. The wheels are so simple, literally. We cut the wheels out, we glue the wheels and back to back. We're going to puncture the center, and then the strut, the cross brace, that's what will hold the toothpick. Here you see now, I am using the tweezer to mark down the center line. We fold, we cut the excess off, add glue, and that's a toothpick strip that I will put in. We press this down firmly, make sure everything is good. We're doubling up our wheels now. And the thing about it, things like the wheel and landing gear, we add more cardstock layer to thicken it. Here you see I'm mounting the wheel. Not bad. Flip the model upside down, glue in place, and you're good. So the finishing, It's basically adding the prop and we cut that excess off, and then we're going to just super glue that prop in place, right? Hold that with a tweezer, and pretty much that's it. Then we add our rockets. This is just a little extra. It's not mandatory that you do it. I just like the fact that it was there, so I added it. All right, and we paint the other side of it so that it looks a little more realistic. If we had time, we would paint both sides of the rocket to look identical. And pretty much this is it. Looking nice. Well, thank you so much for joining me for another model build. I hope you will join us again next week. I want to thank all my Patreon sponsors for making this happen. You guys are the wind beneath my wings, and I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you who watch this. Please subscribe. Let me know what you would like to see build next in the comments. So until then, my friends, take care, walk good. And as always, my friends, one love.